If you ask yourself why you shouldn't do something, you will come up with answers to this question. You will find a lot of reasons why you shouldn't do something. Even if these reasons are true, it still doesn't mean that you shouldn't pursue this thing. It's about finding one reason why you should keep going, not finding a lot of reasons why you shouldn't. It's not just because you are programmed to seek safety or the safest outcome through protecting yourself and avoiding taking risks. It's not about that. It's about being logically reasonable that if you did nothing, nothing is going to happen. So there's no reason to be afraid. There's nothing to worry about. There's no reason for you to feel sad or worried or to feel bad for at all. Why would you feel worse if nothing changed? Why would you feel bad if you did nothing new? This is not about safety or security. This is about you not wanting to face any kind of change because that change might be worse and you want to live a good life. That is so logical and rational. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not because you were programmed for survival from thousands of years or that your primitive mind always focuses on keeping you safe. No. It's because if you did something unfamiliar or new, you will change whatever you are living through at the moment. That kind of change scares you, and you want to keep things the same and then pick the best option available for you at the moment and pursue it. The problem with that is that you think that the process of picking one of the options that are available to you is not a huge and heavy and maybe a time-consuming process that is not easy. You think that this is something that happens outside of the universe, outside of the world. You can indulge in that for as long as you want and then go do something, according to what you picked. The time that you take to decide which course of action you should take at the moment, during that time, your state changes. Your state could get worse for any reason. Frustration, having done nothing for a long time, the excitement that you had, the motivation that you had is starting to fade away. That is what makes you rush into the familiar options that, according to your history, showed you that you will feel good after doing them. Which brings us to the point of all this. Questioning whether or not you should do something in itself is a bad habit. It's something that you should not engage in for prolonged periods of time. The mere fact of questioning whether or not you should do something puts that thing in the box of controversy. Makes you debate in your head whether or not you should do this thing. Makes you doubt or hesitate whether or not you should do this thing. That, in and of itself, is a time-consuming and energy-consuming process and might not lead to the desired results that you want, even if the answer that you give is true. Even if you gave correct answers to that question, whether or not I should do this thing. The answer to this is ask yourself whether or not I can do this thing at the moment. That should be the best question that you resort to at times of hesitation. Can I do this now? As opposed to, should I do this now? Because there's always something better that you can do. Where do you think comparison comes from? You compare yourself to other people because you think that your life would be better if you had their life. If you had the same options available to them, your life would suck less. So you compare yourself to other people because you think other things, if you were allowed to do or had the luxury of doing, you would feel better. You could always feel better. You could always find, better options to pick from or better things to do. That hesitation makes you unable to move unless you find very good reasons, a list of reasons that would convince anyone that the course of action that you're about to take is the best. That is very hard to reach every time you try to do something. The end result of this is what they call analysis paralysis. It could be frustration, it could be disappointment, it could be, why is this happening to me? You would start reflecting on whether or not you're living the life that you're supposed to be living. And if the answer is no, which is very common, many people are not already living their dream life, you would start ruminating about why you ended up that way. Imagine going through all this every time you think about brushing your teeth. Like, you could spend literally an hour questioning whether or not this is the best course of action that you want to take at the moment. This is how you want to spend these next 5 minutes in your morning. As opposed to just going there without even asking a question or questioning whether or not you should be doing this right now. You just do it. And if it's wrong, you will stand back and assess whether or not you should do this next time. But this time, you shouldn't be fully convinced whether or not it's the best thing to do right now. Always try to judge yourself afterwards, not before doing the thing. So it's not a question of whether or not this is the best thing that we can do right now. It's a question of, can we do this? Is this right? Is this not wrong? Will any negative consequences happen because of doing this thing right now? Is this thing should be avoided? Should this thing be avoided now? If you already know that this thing is good for you, then it shouldn't be a matter of, is there another thing that I should be doing right now? Is there a better option? Is there a better candidate? Should I suggest a few other things instead of it? It should be a question of, can I do this now or not? If you can do this, then don't hesitate for too long. You will always come up with the reasons why you shouldn't do this thing, because you've wasted a lot of energy in the decision-making process. The decision-making process, if it consumes more energy than the process itself that you're questioning, you will definitely not pursue this thing. You will definitely end up not doing it. So stop questioning things too much, stop overthinking stuff, and just do it if it's good for you and if you already know that it's okay and nothing wrong with it. Don't ask whether or not this is the best task that you can do right now. Just ask, can I do this right now or not? And watch your productivity skyrocket.